All right, should the Texans take a quarterback at number one? The answer for me is yes. We talked about this today on In the Loop on Sports Radio 610. You can listen to that on the Odyssey app. We've actually talked about this a lot, and it's really kind of a fluid discussion based on many factors. I think the answer is very simple. The answer is yes. Now, the natural follow-up there is why? Why take a quarterback at number one? Why do you believe that? I tweeted out earlier today, and I'll go through the comments. There were some comments. Shout out to everyone who follows me on Twitter at Landry Locker, listens to the show on Sports Radio 610. We'll go through the comments because there was a lot of fire and a lot of discussion about this. But the reason why you take a quarterback at number one, and I mentioned the fan base, which is definitely a factor. If you don't think the lack of interest in this organization right now and the lack of fans in stands is a factor, then you're just living in a fantasy world. It is. I'm not saying that the Texans should draft Johnny Manziel. And if this were the 2021 draft, I wouldn't be saying the Texans need to draft a quarterback at number one. That would be absolutely silly. So there are multiple factors, but the fan thing comes into play, and the fan thing matters, especially when you have the most important thing, the actual options at the quarterback position at the top of this draft. You have Bryce Young, who I believe is the man and the guy that you go with. You have Will Levis, who a lot of people are high on. It's going to be interesting to hear what people say about Will Levis as the evaluation goes on and how much the Texans like him. And then you have CJ Stroud. So the options are the main reason why you do it. The fans can be somewhat of a tiebreaker. Again, I'm not saying you draft Johnny Manziel. I'm not saying you draft Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett or, Desmond Ridder, number one last year. But the options you have do factor in, and we've discussed these multiple times. The other reason is the cushion. You have a lot of assets, so you can still build your squad. It's not like you're drafting a quarterback in the first round and then you have to wait till the second. You have 3 more first-round picks in the next 2 years, and you have a lot of extra draft picks, and you have a chance to build the roster. So you can continue to build the roster. Like if you just had normal draft equity, then yes, like. Well, what's the best way to build your roster? You're most likely going to have a first pick, a number one pick, a first round pick, 11 picks later. So you're not really doing it at the sake of building your roster. You can still build your roster because of the cap space you have, because of the draft equity you have, et cetera. So the options, the cushion, and all the assets, those are 2 very important football reasons. Okay. Now, I keep hearing this Caleb Williams stuff. I don't even want to get into that shit because I don't want to sit here and look ahead to, tanking for, we don't know what Caleb Williams is going to end up being. The hype could die down. You don't know if you're going to be that bad. Like I'm not going to do like this chess 2-year plan. I'll save that for like a Madden franchise or something like that. But I'm not there. But because of the actual players, the options at the top, because of the cushion that you have, because of the extra assets, yes, you draft the quarterback, and the other factor comes into play. And that was what I mentioned. And this is the tiebreaker. And if you don't think it should be, okay. But with how much apathy there is at the fan base, and I'm there every single Sunday. I'm in the press box. I go in the locker room. I talk to the PR people. I talk to the business people. I cover this team daily. We talk to listeners. I talk to people on here. Like, if you don't think that factors in, then maybe you're just not going to the game, or maybe you're just such a hardo that you don't think it should matter. In a perfect world, maybe it shouldn't, but it does, especially when you have these options and you have this cushion. You got to take the quarterback at 1. It matters. It 100% matters. There's apathy, and the fan base gets excited. And I've heard, the notion that, well, if you draft a bust at quarterback, then the fans will leave. I disagree. I think a quarterback can ignite a fan base to where they're riding and dying, especially when you have this much of a cushion. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals are probably a bad example, especially with what's going on with Kyler right now, but they drafted Josh Rosen. The very next year, they drafted Kyler Murray. And they thought they had a franchise quarterback. They might not, but they drafted another guy right after. If Bryce Young doesn't work out in 2 years, but you're still building your team around him well and using those assets, it's not the end of the world. Furthermore, he's probably an upgrade over any quarterback you have. So, yes, I do think they should draft a quarterback. I do think the other factors come into play. Are they the end-all, be-all? No. Again, you're not drafting Johnny Manziel. You're not drafting Malik Willis number 1 overall. You're drafting Bryce Young, Will Levis, or C.J. Stroud, whichever one you like. So the actual layout of the draft does matter. That comes into play. I'm not sitting here saying to create some sort of circus. And if you listen to me, you know that. But that stuff does matter. At least it should. And I think it will. And I think it'll be a good football decision. I think it'll be good for the fans. And I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with those assets and that cap space to build around the guy. So I absolutely believe that. I'll go to the comments. You can put the comments in. We'll keep that coming. I'm going to go through tweet comments because those are always a little bit more interesting. Not than you guys, but you guys know how this goes. Well, I'll get to those comments, but I tweeted this out earlier today, and this is always dangerous when you do this. I said QB at 1 is the must at this point. Don't care about best way to build a team, etc. Need to ignite fan base at this point. Still have assets to build team around him where if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. QB brings interest. They need it. Okay, so it's very clear. Like you still have assets to build a team around him to where if he doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. So I kind of explained the cushion there. And I do think the fan stuff factors in. Let's just get through some of the comments. Getting a real coaching staff from top to bottom would ignite the fan base plenty. Joseph Janica. I guess. I mean, I think it would be nice. But how do you know when a coaching staff is real? Excited about Lovie Smith, but when do you know that? Like, is that a year thing? Is it how do I know when a coaching staff and it doesn't have to be one or the other. Yeah, get a real coaching staff and get the quarterback. We can do both. Dream Team Apple at Dream Team Apple 1. I actually want Jalen Carter number 1 overall because I believe he's the best player in the draft, but he happens to be a non-quarterback. And then we're forced to draft Bryce Young because Landry has a good point. I just want the best players. We need many upgrades. Agree. Patrick Storm says a good way to ignite the fan base is build a winning roster. Taking a QB just to fill seats is malpractice. I actually talked to him. I would agree with that. Like if I would have said this last year with Malik Willis, obviously the draft comes into play, but I see what he's saying. John Crumpler, the most important component in building a winning roster, however, is finding your quarterback. Houston has a franchise caliber signal caller at them at 1, 11 other picks in cap space to reel LeBron Bryce. Yes, I agree with John. We got some Bryce Young. We got some Will Levis. Man, those look good. I agree, but I promise some more on. I'll say tank for Caleb. Yes, that is a thing. With 12 picks and 41 million cap space, Texans can go a long ways. This is true. Talking about Tua and Murray, I agree. Let's not screw this up. This is pure fan conjecture, and it's kind of lazy too. I'm curious what the actual organization will do. It's not fan conjecture when we're talking about the actual draft, and this is the lowest. This is the least risky you will ever have it when it comes to drafting a quarterback at 1 because you have the other picks. So I don't agree with that, but I could see where you would think that. I don't know, but we will see what the organization does. Hire the best head coaching candidate. There's another one of those. Kind of weak that a QB drives fan interest. Pretty shallow fans if that's the case. That's ridiculous. Evan, can't even pronounce your last name. At Wiz Texans fan 9981. QB always drives fan interest. Always drives fan interest anywhere. Like that's anything. So there is nothing unique about that. Although in Houston, there's more apathy right now than other fan bases. But the QB, I mean, I was talking to Grant Paulson of the Washington that covers the Washington football team. He was saying that they need the quarterback. Like that's not unique to anyone. That's not a quarterback driving interest is not unique to Texans. And I don't think Texans fans are weak. We've been through this road of good roster, but a revolving door of mediocre QBs. Okay. There you go. Pass rusher, then take Caleb Williams. We got a lot of Caleb Williams things. Or we trade for Jordan Love for a second. Are we sure Jordan Love's that good? The Texan, damn, y'all trying hard to make us the new Cleveland Browns. Not at all. Not at all. This Marquisa says, damn, this is like saying the Texans should have drafted Vince Young because it would have been exciting, I guess. Driscoll season says, once I see Ignite fan base, your opinion is irrelevant. I think he meant YOUR and kind of said, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. And he speaks GIF. So there you go. One of those. Don't care about the best way to build a team. How can you say that and then later question things when they don't work out? Don't know. Again, there are other variables. Need to ignite fan base. What does that even mean? Is that hard to understand what that means? Who cares? It is that I can't even read that. You got to edit, man. Weird take. Winning will fill seats. I mean, think they will take a QB at 1, but don't fill seats. Okay. I disagree. D-line with pick. Gotcha. Someone brings up the veteran. What successful team organization at this point has a highly drafted QB? I mean, are you serious? Wrong. Build team to win. Real fans, no. Okay. I always get a kick out of the real fans thing. Who decides what a real fan is? I mean, there's all kinds of fans. I always get a kick out of that. Y'all can keep the comments coming. We'll go there. I know this is old news, but it doesn't matter at all anymore. Mario Williams instead of Reggie Bush. Yeah, Mario Williams was a good pick by Charlie Casserly. But I think Bryce Young and Will Levis have potential to be better than Vince. So there you go. And you still had hope with David Carr. Someone says, man, F them fans. That seems kind of mean. Someone said we're playing Driscoll. Someone said Casario. Let's go to the quote tweet. See what we got here. The long ass name right there. That's hamster wheel thinking that has buried franchises before, including this one. I want to know one example of this type of thinking for the Texans. I actually think they've done the opposite. They've usually gone with the D lineman at the top. So I would love to know the examples. Christopher Ross says, when you made a career of saying gimmicky clickbait style things, sometimes you can't turn it off. Real confused by that. Apparently he runs a media company or something like that. They haven't done much in a long time, but look, I made a career out of studying journalism in college, graduating from college, passing out T-shirts, working overnights, working 70 hours, having multiple program directors believe in me, polishing my craft, covering squads, going to actual games, diving into the team and what they do. I don't know what that means. This dude's a loser. He just got I think he just got his Twitter account opened. Justin Stapleton says he agrees. Don't care about the best ways to build team. Obviously, there's other stuff going. GM Sanchez got a couple in. The igniting the fan base is the dumbest way to build a roster. Obviously, when you have the extra assets, though, this is just the weakest mindset. I think this is this a cartoon character? Oh, yeah, that's an anime thing. Okay, cool. This is the weakest mindset. You just let fans decide how to run a team, especially not these F-ass fans. Texans fans are the literal bottom of the barrel league-wide. I've argued with them for a decade. They're delusional, impatient, and naive. So, damn, dude, this emo dude with the Texans phone is better than the whole fan base. That's cool. Very, very, very nice. And then we got Texans cap right there. I'll retweet that. That's tonight at 9. So there we go. A lot of opinions about the quarterback. Obviously, there's other factors that come into play when it comes to drafting the QB. But I think in this situation with these variables, I think it is the right choice because of the options, because of the cushion, and because of the other factors. Let's get to the comments on here. By the way, just got a text message. Tremont Smith going to join In the Loop tomorrow during the show, straight off the practice field. Never talked to Tremont one-on-one, so I'm looking forward to that. We've gotten some great interviews with the players, so subscribe to this channel, fire up the Odyssey app, and we'll keep covering this team as best as we can. Stephen Harris says, if the Texans don't draft Bryce Young next year, I'm calling Nick Cassera to get fired from GM and bring back Rick Smith. Do we have to bring back Rick? I like Rick. I appreciate some of the things that Rick did, but why do we want to bring back Rick? Maybe we could go get Will McClay or something like that. Ryan C., shout out to him. If they think Young or Stroud is a potential franchise QB, you take him, no question. You don't just punt on that opportunity because the rest of the team may not be ready. 100%. And the offensive line, like I keep hearing about the offensive line, you got really good tackles. You hope Kenyon Green's going to take a leap. I don't think there's any reason to think that he can't. And then really you just need a center and you need a guard that are better than what you got. So I don't think the offensive line's too far off. Will Levis would, especially when you got the tackles, Will Levis would be great, but also need QB badly to say what would be a better pick. Yes. Facebook user says yes. I'm assuming they're saying the quarterback. Beast mode loading. Dude, you are jacked, my friend. I will still draft a QB, but hypothetical, what if Mills throws for 4 TD in the remaining games? I would still draft a QB, and I would have Davis as my backup and maybe even let Davis start the season off. I'm not opposed to letting the rookie sit and figure it out. And I think there's a chance Davis might be your backup. Facebook user, what small QBs are successful today? Kyler Murray hasn't ever won more than 9 games in 4 years. Russell Wilson has totally failed without a stellar O-line. I know they're going to take Young, but I believe it's a bad call. Okay, so you think he's small. Drew Brees did okay. But, I mean, if you watch Bryce Young and feel like the size is a problem, you're going to have to tell me why. He's playing in the SEC. He can make all the throws. He does a good job protecting himself. We'll get these breakdowns as it goes, but I mean, when have you seen him and felt like he was small? Prospect sits out, bowl game, bad for fans. Prospect gets drafted. Fan base loves him. Player demands a trade after a few seasons, bad for fans. Sports are cycling. Okay. It's actually pretty deep. I like that. John. Facebook user, are you against trading back? See, I was okay with trading back, but the more I think about it, the more they just need a quarterback. And it was actually kind of a revelation with Lopez. We were judging tailgates. We'll be doing that again this week, by the way, in the blue lot. So we'll be in the blue lot today. We just looked around and said, man, they need juice. And obviously we like the quarterbacks. Again, we wouldn't have said this last year, but we just said we were riding in the golf cart, which is where we go when we judge tailgate. Shout out to the Nuff Said tailgaters. Shout out to all the beasts out there in all the lots. You guys are the heartbeat of the fan base. We just said, man, they need juice. And they absolutely do. And they happen to have good options right now. Are you against trading back? Just read that. Draft a QB, Bryce Young, and let the rest fall a certain way. I agree. Do you see Cassera as the type of GM who might take Will Levis over Bryce Young? Possibly. I prefer Young, but Levis is being compared to Josh Allen, has the same physical tools. They can evaluate the QB, pick the QB, and I'm sure the city will rally around the QB. Ryan, even a QB at the level of Mills had portions of the fan base juiced. Bryce Young would do wonders. I mean, Bryce Young, I mean, we've been through this. Answer, yes, we need to draft a QB. Fluke, I don't know what that says. If there is a good tight end in the draft, we should grab one. Texans have needed a good tight end forever. True. Second round, probably the money range there, but I agree with you. They do need a tight end. Yes, you need a QB. It's almost impossible to win without it. You also need a coaching staff. That is true. A new one, yes. Generational QBs are few and far between, but with Young, you've built out enough to draft another QB. Thank you, Eddie. I 100% agree with that. If I didn't, I would still say thank you because I appreciate the comments. OY says, is it possible Omar Khan and other coaches didn't want to come here 2 years ago? How since Watson? No, I think a lot of people wanted that job, especially with Watson. They just decided on Casario, which might not be the worst thing. The McNairs, the fans should be the number one priority. You need elite players. You need elite coaches. Yes, you need elite things. That is true. BY has the it factor. Ain't no doubt about it. Whatever it is, he has it. John says at some point the NFL will take over control of the Texans and remove the McNairs for negligence. Nah, come on, man. Give them a chance. Give Cal and Hannah a chance. I like them. And personally, which out of three do you want, Bryce, Stroud, or Levis? I want Bryce. I would go Bryce, Levis, Stroud if I had to rank them. That would be my order. Dominic, my man, says, Landry, I am all in on QB at 1, all in on Bryce Young, but nothing will change or improve unless we get the right coaching staff. No doubt. I don't want Bryce playing under Levy or Pep. I don't either. I mean, trust me, I don't either. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the feedback. Tremont Smith tomorrow on In the Loop on Sports Radio 610, coming off of his solid performance. And we got a lot more exciting stuff going on. We got 4 games remaining. Then it gets real excited with the draft. Enjoying all the dialogue, seriously, in all sincerity. All of the dialogue on social media. I know sometimes it gets intense. Fans get frustrated. But hey, it is what it is, man. Like it's been a frustrating time. Everybody's got opinions. Ain't that serious? Let's just stick between the trenches. Don't need to be talking about people's mamas or stuff like that. And it's all good. Quarterback at number 1. The options, the cushion, and the fan base. It matters. And no matter what happens, whether they take a quarterback, whether they take a D lineman, we got plenty of time for that. Just remember, we are all in this together. I'm with Cap tonight at 9 o'clock, Cap and Trade Show. Come through there. Subscribe to my man Cody Stutes YouTube channel too, my man. He just started one. Texans Cap's doing his thing. The digital presence of Texans content is improving. And shout out to the people who've been doing it since the very beginning, the Patrick Storms, etc. Much love.